kind of leadership California expects their senator to demonstrate.
Congress, what about Senator Dianne Feinstein? Some people have wondered if you maybe, and Katie Porter as well, should have waited until she announced she wasn't running. What do you say about Senator Feinstein, and do you believe it's time for new blood in the race?
I spoke to Senator Feinstein earlier this week to let her know that I plan to make an announcement. We had met some weeks ago where I expressed my interest in running and the key issues that I see facing our state and our country. She could not have been more gracious. She was, very encouraging of my making this announcement. Did not try to discourage me in any way. I do want to do this in a respectful way, which is why I stayed in constant touch with her. We work together on intelligence matters as the two top Democrats in the House and Senate on intelligence. We've worked together on gun safety. She's, as you know, championed the assault weapons ban. I've been carrying for years the legislation Joe Biden has called perhaps the most important gun safety measure that would strip away the immunity from liability the gun industry has on open space issues. Senator Feinstein and I work together. So we have not only a great relationship, but I have genuine admiration and affection for the senator and want to make sure that I give her the respect that she has earned.
Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California, now a candidate for U.S. Senate. Thank you very much for being on this morning.
Thank you.
President of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass. We are capping off our week-long discussion of his new book entitled The Bill of Obligations, The 10 Habits of Good Citizens. Also with us, presidential historian and Pulitzer Prize-winning author Doris Kearns Goodwin. And Richard, you write about country over party in the book, saying that, quote, the obligation to put the country and American democracy before party and person is a thread that helps bind the fabric of this society and is an essential element of patriotism. Putting democracy and the country founded on it first is the only way to preserve and, better yet, improve a United States of America that, for any and all of its shortcomings and flaws, is still the most successful political experiment in human history and the one with the greatest potential. And Doris, I'll let you kick it off, but where we started with Rusty Bowers, I mean, there are people who have stepped up in this country's time of need. The problem is a lot of people didn't.
Absolutely, and what I think is so profound about what Richard has written, I've been waiting for this book, I think, for a long time, is that in the end, it all comes down to character. And right, Richard, that's what you say. And I think about Teddy Roosevelt, who said that the power of a president is most exemplified in the power of example. That you want, and he said his most important role was that of being citizens. All this stuff you talk about. Or I think of George Bush Sr., who wrote about his mother, who wanted him to be fiercely competitive, but on the other hand, she wanted him to win with humility and to lose with grace, and to be a good teammate. He came home one day and he said, I scored 3 goals in soccer. Well, how did the team do, she said. So somehow I think what you've done in this book, Richard, I'd like to ask whether it was intended that character in some ways becomes the ultimate sum of what allows a person to put democracy above self. It's character, and you can teach it by coaches, by parents, by example, by leaders. And what's been so sad about our current situation is people at the highest level not accepting loss with grace. So I'd love to hear you talk about it, Richard. I'm so glad you wrote this book.
Well, thank you, Doris. I really, really appreciate it. I didn't start out there, but I ended up there. And the more I looked at American history, the more I looked at politics, to get people to act the right way is not something you can legislate or mandate as a matter of law. It's in some ways explains how I came to the whole concept of obligation, the things you should do or ought to do, rather than can be compelled to do. And there's good examples of in history, you're more familiar than I am, say, with profiles of courage, either people who stood fast by principle when that was called for, or people who were prepared to compromise when compromise made them politically vulnerable. And what's so interesting to me is you can model it. You can have religious leaders and authorities, I think, call for it. You can have teachers call for it. Parents can demonstrate it and talk to their children about it. You can do everything about it, though, again, but require it. And that's where the voters come in. I think at the end of the day, it's a little bit up to us to say we're going to vote for people or support people who show this, who do the right thing, virtue or character, and we're going to penalize those who don't. We've got a lot of people in Washington right now who are not demonstrating character, so I think it's up to us. They're not going to change, most likely. So it's up to us, if you will, to change who gets to represent us.
So, Richard, what seems to be, as you just mentioned, an increasingly rare thing for public figures, politicians, to put country first, to not choose politics or their even personal gain. We all spoke many times this summer about Liz Cheney, a rare moment who put patriotism over party. How worried are you, though, that she is by far the exception rather than the rule? Do you see others out there? Do you have any hope that this could be a growing trend?
Well, I think some of the secretaries of state around the country who stood fast in Pennsylvania and other states who pushed back, what you just heard from Mr. Powers, I thought was remarkable. The idea, here's this Republican, he almost wanted to do the wrong thing, because politically it would have served his interest to do the wrong thing, but morally and ethically he couldn't do the wrong thing. This is a religious country. This is a moral country, so I don't think it's impossible. I don't think what we're talking about is a pipe dream. Again, but lots of people have to step up. The leaders of this society have to be willing to demonstrate it and call for it. I'd be curious what Doris thinks about this, about what it is, where she sees it, and where she thinks, how she thinks we can generate, if you will, more of it.
Well, I think the word generate is an important word because it's interesting. Certain generations, there's a cycle of history where people are more other-minded, where public issues cut across private lives in a greater way. Obviously, it happens during wars, the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, but it also happened during peacetime. At the turn of the 20th century, that progressive movement, there were settlement houses. There were people who cared about making the democracy stronger. It happened in the 1960s. I mean, I'm so glad I grew up in the 1960s, even though it had lots of difficulties during that period. There was that civil rights movement. There was the sense of what John Kennedy was calling on people, to care more about what they could do for their country than what their country could do for them. So it's a contagion. I mean, I remember being at the Civil Rights March in 1963. It was one of the greatest moments in my life in a certain sense because I felt part of something larger than myself. As I was marching along, carrying those signs, I felt like we were making a better world. And indeed, that march helped to produce the Civil Rights Act and then later the Voting Rights Act. So that sometimes you just got to get enough people doing it. And I think, as you say, Richard, in the book, when you do that, when you put that ahead of your own personal self, it's a great feeling. You feel larger. You're connected to something bigger. Isn't that right?
No, absolutely. Another example I was thinking of was after 9/11, when my boss at the time, President George W. Bush, went to the mosque, and just to basically say to Americans, these are our fellow Americans. Treat them as our fellow Americans. Don't have collective, if you will, guilt for the terrible actions of a few. That to me, that was character in action. That was truly an admirable sort of action.
So, Richard, what does it tell you that we hold up as exceptions, unfortunately, people like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, Republicans, who stood up and did something that to most of us was an obvious thing, which is to say an attempted coup against the United States government is a bad thing. But even people who stepped away from Donald Trump in that moment around January 6th are back at his side and quickly rush back to his side. What does it tell you about the incentives that our politicians have to really not put country first when push comes to shove?
It tells you just that. So what we have to do is change the incentive structure. It means voters, and it might take independents and Democrats as well as some Republicans to send the message. What we want is our political leaders to be responsive to good incentives, to act responsibly when their narrow political instincts are not. And then we need others in the society also to speak out to this. Educators. This is what teachers are meant to teach. Religious leaders are meant to introduce a moral element to our lives. Parents are meant to try to raise their children in ways which are admirable. So I don't think it's gonna happen all of a sudden. I don't think it's gonna happen by a magic wand. But it is gonna take work at the, if you will, the ground level, and ultimately enough voters are gonna have to get involved and basically make clear that people who do not put country first, to put it bluntly, they will not be given the opportunity to lead. and those who do put country first, even where there's some political disagreements, they will be voted for. But until that happens, I think we're going to see more of what we've seen, unfortunately.
Richard Haas, thank you so much. The new book is The Bill of Obligations, The 10 Habits of Good Citizens, and we're all glad you wrote the book. Thank you very much for your book residency this week. And Doris Kearns Goodwin.